you know, if you're playing the maps together as a roster, rotating correctly around each and every one of the maps, I think that gives you such a massive head start over the rest of the teams. If you get that down 100%, you'll be in such a great spot. And that is really integral to a game such as Halo as well. You need to make sure you play as a team, right?
I think Aquarius is a good pick just to talk about the meta in general, too, right? Because when we first hopped into Halo, everybody was kind of veering away from just the heat wave in general, which spawns down in P1. But once players started to understand the verticality change that you can do with that weapon, it became a nuisance. So a lot more teams are starting to focus a lot more on the left-hand side of the map. And the things about that as well is that the right-hand side, they give you the dynamo grenades as well, which a lot of individuals are finding so much success with. And I'm glad that you brought up the discrepancy as far as what players were playing in between Isolation or MCC, wherever they came from. A lot of players can find a lot of success, whether it's even with the sidekick, with the heat wave, or just the classic BR. It's awesome to be able to see a lot of different teams manipulate their own little twists on the meta and be able to find so much dominance on the map. It's been a very awesome turn of events over the past week and a half.
Agreed. Well, we're going to hop on board. I'm going to give you Proper and Infinity. They're going to cast your first game. Take it away, guys.
Oh, Andy, I'm so excited to get in our first game of Halo Infinite. We're getting straight on board with Aquarius for game number 1. Andy, it's been a long time coming. Halo Infinite, it's finally here, man. I'm so excited.
Yeah, and we get to spend, I mean, we spent so much time playing in ranked together, just going over different maps and different opening breakoffs, and now we get to be able to see what it's looking like here at the competitive meta here in ACS Open number 2. A very early flagpole is actually ensuing, and this is automatically going to be run straight through Hydro. A little bit of a mishap coming through and trying to flag hop it, but we should be on our merry way back through Blue Utility, and it doesn't look like this one's going to be stopped anytime soon.
Oh, would you look at this? Straight away, we're starting to see why Oxygen are pretty good. It would seem, obviously, top 6 last weekend, and now this weekend, starting pretty good here on Aquarius CTF. Now, I will say, I think, generally speaking, this early on in the tournament, we shouldn't see any crazy surprises, right, in terms of seeding, especially just given how good Oxygen are as a roster. This should, technically speaking, be a best-of-3 stand-up.
It should, yeah, absolutely, and you're just starting to see exactly why. I mean, Common is one of those folks as well. If you're unfamiliar, has been probably one of the most highly rated amateurs coming from H2A and Halo 3. It definitely has what it takes to be at the pro level, dropping a certain amount of numbers. And like Active was saying, between Swish and Name and all of their tenure that we got to see through Halo 5, this is truly a team that you want to keep your eyes on through the rest of the day, and that's why they're finding a lot of success here in their Winners Round 1 match of just camping out the enemy spawn and just being able to keep them trapped over inside of top pink for the time being, and they're just continuously running the flag back and forth.
Yeah, I was going to say at the moment, this Oxygen roster are doing such a great job at just zoning the map, making sure they've got control of utility, got control of Hydro, and just continue pulling the flag down this route over and over again. It's working out every single time, and this is just experience coming in from this roster. They know exactly how to zone the map the way they want to, and got off the back of that as well. You're seeing these little bits of movement differentials between them and the opposition here, able to get that flag in pretty much uncontested, and, well, straight in map control once again. Here's another flag, Andy. Would you believe it? They're back on it once again.
Yeah, I mean, they're just continuously keeping a player, whether that's in top pink, just revolving in between their refrigeration side to the enemy refrigeration. I don't think that there's been a single power-up that's been dropped so far for this Oxygen Esports roster, as you see just another beatdown by way of the camo, just lying in wake. And they're just doing a great job of just playing off of each other. I mean, this is Halo in its prime. You can only do so much as an individual, and even right there, catching one out in the open inside of Hydro, but the trade comes through automatically. Map positioning and control is everything on Aquarius CTF, and Oxygen are playing that to a high degree.
Here we go once again. Name going to bring that flag to the middle of the map, and now it's going to be a job for the rest of the team to try and pick it up and put a closer on this one as... Well, we're on board now with Common. We'll see what he's able to do in the mid-map. Shouldn't be that much of a problem to try and grab this flag, at the very least to get a touch to stop it from being returned. And, well, at this point, really, Andy, it is just a case of... Oh, that's disgusting. It's just a case of trying to put a closer on this game, trying to get this one done and dusted as fast as possible, because we have a rather large bracket going on today. 512 teams. It's the largest Halo tournament in history. And, yeah... We're in for a great treat ahead of us, but that's a pretty good start, I would say, for Oxygen Esports. 5-0 on Aquarius. We've had that. We've been on the receiving end of that. And, well, can't imagine that was the best start for the opposition there. But, again, it's not all that surprising at the end of the day. They do come in here as a top 6 seed overall off their top 6 finish last week.
Yeah, you're going to get a lot of these mismatches early, right? I mean, when you have those 512 teams, that's over 2,000 individuals competing on this very day in Winners Round 1, barring, they all wake up and they play their matches, right? But that being said, You're going to get a lot of these in the early stages of things, as you can take a look at a couple of the stats. Again, it was just all Blitzkrieg. Nobody actually breaking into double digits for eliminations, but regardless, it was just all map control for Oxygen. And like you said, this is the start that we're mostly going to be expecting against any opposition. Much like you said, coming in, placing top 6 from HCS Open number 1. This is what you're going to expect as they prepare themselves for live fire coming up.
Yeah, for sure, right? And I think if you're opposition here, I mean, we say this on Call of Duty pretty often, right, Andy? If you're on the receiving end of that kind of wall ping for the first game of the day, you kind of need to just take a step back, hit the mental regain, and try to go again here for map number 2. Now, we're going over towards live fire here for map number 2. It's going to be Slayer. I'm very excited to see how they're going to try and play this, because obviously, as I said, when it comes to Slayer, you really need to make sure you're playing the map as a roster, try and win your ones, and if you can, actually try and force those 2-on-1 situations as much as possible. For the opposition here, I'm really excited to see kind of the difference between these rosters. What is Oxygen going to do to try and force the advantage as much as humanly possible in their favor?
Kind of terrifying, right? I mean, Aquarius capture the flag. Lasted less than 4 minutes. 3 minutes, 49 seconds. Yeah, put him on the speed run for that one, I suppose. But yeah, live fire for Slayer. This is where things might get a little bit hairy, given where you can be looking for a different positioning. So you can already see right off the rip. Trying to contest down low in this basement area. The Heat Wave is just such a powerful weapon to be able to control for either of these two teams. Plasminades on at least the cutout side, but even still, when you're thinking about it from a power weapon standpoint, getting them is the first step. Finding success with them is another.
Yeah, for sure, right? I mean, if you're Oxygen, I think you will probably more likely than not find success with those nades very easily. As there we go. Oh, those crouch shots coming on through. That is why those are deadly. And Swish, of course, was a player that we did manage to highlight before we got into this game, saying he is definitely a player and a name to watch here in this game number 1. And here's something that I highlighted, Andy, as we got into this one. You need to make sure you control those power-ups, and it is immediately going to be Oxygen Esports in control of that camo. We'll see what they're able to do with it as now, moving forward. Starting off this game, I'd say this has been a pretty good start overall.
Yeah, you know, well, one could certainly say that. I mean, it's currently 6-1 as it stands right now. Currently fishing out people inside of this house. They will find it. Is Oxygen Esports, and now it's just about reading spawns, which, especially for this map of live fire, it becomes rather linear. Nice little clapback actually comes there for Reborn's just flying in wake down low on that sandbag window, but not a whole lot of map position to speak of. You can see Name still holding onto the sniper, misses just a bit on the outside, but still has 2 players inside of this house to communicate to their team to collapse.
And here is that heat wave that we were talking about. You know, I kind of view this a little bit as a shotgun in a sense, but it can also do that, and it's very nice when it's in the hands of a pretty talented player such as Name, as he's able to get that one. Now the sniper in hand, surely not, will get the hit, but not enough for a headshot, not enough for a kill. He's got all the weapons at the moment sitting in his hands, looking to find some more kills here to try and press the advantage that Oxygen Esports have gained early on here. But even at this point, what we're kind of seeing from Oxygen is them just kind of running around the map and trying to play off the back of their skill alone. And while looking at a player like Name at the moment, I'm not at all surprised that's what they're doing.
He's on 6 straight. Looking to continue on with this. Again, it's just been bouncing between a multitude of power weapons. You saw drop the sniper immediately for the Mangler, and another weapon that deserves its own very special conversation. Reading players up top nest, and Name's going to be able to complete this flank, but the heat wave runs out. But the commando is right there for them to be able to pick up that secondary, and it's just a continuous track around the entirety of this map of live fire for Oxygen thus far. Just reading the spawns, forcing them in positions, and then just cleaning it up. You can see right there what this position for Ness is able to do once they read that they're spawning all on C plat. You have a little bit of a pinch that comes through from that C ramp and inside of Secret. Oxygen are just showcasing why they're such a dominant team.
Yeah, just continually going for the flank here or Oxygen Esports. I mean, it felt like a little bit of a moment of reprieve for their opposition here for just a moment, but it doesn't feel like that's any longer the case as we switch over once again here to Reborns to see what he's able to do. Able to get 1 kill. Now fighting for the second here. I mean, the shots are there. Can he get the finish? Yes, he can. And that's going to help bring them back. But again, at this point, it is just really tough to find yourself back into a game with this kind of scoreline, 24-12. It is absolutely possible for this comeback to happen, but it's going to be tough.
26-12. I mean, at this point going forward, if you are Perception, you're basically looking at it. Where are we spawning? How can we regroup ourselves? It's about overwhelming all of these Oxygen players with whatever numbers you possibly can. Team shots are everything in a game like Halo Infinite, especially coming through a multitude of titles. That if you could try to quickly burst down individuals while keeping your teammate alive, well, that's just about what Slayer is all about now, isn't it? 29v14 as they're reading more players spawning inside a nest. These nades are just absolutely bombarding them. One more player down low will be able to escape with their life for the time being. But the question is, against this Oxygen team, as they're going up to about 31 total kills, here's 32, surely 33 as well, is how long will they stay alive?
How long will they stay alive, indeed? We're edging close to that 50 kill mark, aren't we? As, well, Oxygen Esports just running about the map, having a hell of a time here. We have the OS here in hand for a switch. What can you do with it? We're going to switch over to the Mangler, go for the kill and gets it as well. Nice reversal coming in there from Switch. It's not really surprising at this point, is it? And throwing nades over towards the nest. He does recognize that somebody is over there, but he's going to sit tight for a second and wait for his team to spawn up here, as they do want to make sure they finish this one without any more mistakes. And just what we're seeing from this team at the moment, individually speaking, as a roster, it's pretty sublime. We're seeing just a lot of what we expect from a top roster in Halo.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can see what Common and Name are able to do off of just the electric start, especially from that 9 spree that they were able to get, a collective 26 eliminations between both Common and Name. The way that they're just commanding throughout the entirety of this map, they're reading the spawns, but they're also doing a great job of forcing out the split spawns. And it's from this position right here, especially for Common, that if you can continuously put yourself towards the middle of the map, these be pillars, you can try to split them on the backside of C and over inside of dummies, never giving them an option to regroup.
Well, just 3 kills away now, our Oxygen Esports. 19 is the score, it would seem, for their opposition. It really is just a case of just getting this game over and done with. You've got to remember, there is a lower bracket, I believe, for this tournament, so not all is over for the opposition here, but as far as Oxygen Esports are concerned, they have got round 1 out of the way. Now they move on to round number 2. They don't have to go to Streets Oddball to get that one done, Andy.
Yeah, you know, at this point, especially for a lot of these mismatches that you will end up seeing, again, you know, finishing top 6 in HCS Open number 1, we always welcome whatever teams can possibly be put together to be able to compete throughout these open tournaments here for the Halo Championship Series, but you will see a lot of this in winners round 1, whether you're going up against this Oxygen squad, whether you have to go up against Inconceivable, or even the team that seems to be the one to beat on the weekend will be Optic Gaming. But regardless of the matter, gotta be keeping that gunny warm, gotta be looking towards these upcoming matchups, because it only gets tougher from here.
Yep, indeed it does. Now, I've been told the round 2 matchup that we might well have might just be spicy. Oxygen are apparently playing Antimatter, who they might have some history with, and apparently Saintly from that Antimatter squad has previously played with both Common and Haynes, winning a few Halo 3 HCS Cups together. So we have some storylines going in around number 2, and of course, as we get further on to this tournament, it feels crazy to say we're even getting these storylines this early on into a 512 team bracket. These storylines will pop up more and more, and we'll be getting to talk about more of these storylines as the day goes on.